Today I'm going to cover how to prevent from being a starving artist. Okay, so first let's stop using that term starving artist. I'm eating, you're eating. Only in certain countries they don't have food and everything else. So we can't use this term starving artist. We're just broke. I'm not broke. I have a day job that I do in the daytime, and I'm pretty sure other artists do too. So we can't use the term starving artist. It's a terrible term in the first place. I don't know who thought of it or why they thought of it, but I'm not starving, and neither are you. Okay, so we already have plenty of artists have their own website, their own whatever things they sell. They're your designer. So pretty much, I don't want to sound a certain way, but you're an artist, so in no way form should you be that broke. I know that the marketing and everything else out there is tough, but unless you don't want to pursue certain paths, you shouldn't be completely broke as an artist. You don't have to quit your day job as an artist. If you want to quit, and I've heard other artists say things like, oh, I quit and saved up a lot of money and being an artist was my favorite thing, so I saved up enough to last me for a certain amount of years. Not everybody has that luxury to save up for a number of years just to become an artist. I mean, you was probably broke in the first place. Or what about the person who is an artist struggling and working in McDonald's? How do they save up that much money to last them 2 years on a $150 budget that McDonald's gives them a week, or whatever they're making a week? I don't work for McDonald's, so I can't really say it. But those things, you can't really give that type of advice to certain people because they're not making that amount you might have been making at your job. So for everyone else like me who has a day job, keep it. Don't quit your day job, or get that job at McDonald's or whatever other company that is hiring for part-time. Do that. Save up your money. Don't quit it. Go out there, and you don't have to worry about being a broke artist, because now you'll be able to support yourself still in the future. So nobody should be flat broke as an artist. Don't quit your day job. Unless you see that you're actually starting to make money and able to support yourself as an artist, then I'd say, okay, you're at a point where you can quit. And the real question is, what stage of growth should you quit your day job? Think about this. What is it that you have to pay for during the day? What is it you have to pay for during the month? You have rent, you have other things you have to pay for, supplies, everything else. If you can make that twice, then you can quit your day job. I don't want to get into details of how much I pay for rent or how much whoever pays for rent, but pretty much, let's say a rough estimate of you pay $1,500 a month or $1,200 a month in rent. You still have to take into account of, you have to take public transportation, or maybe you have a car, you have to fill up on gas, you have to buy your clothes, you have to do all these little details that cost a lot of money. So you should, as an artist, be ready to quit your job when you're maintaining enough to support those things. Like you can cover the rent and everything else. You're pulling in about $4,000 a month, which is going to be tough for you, but I'd say that's the point where you want to quit. If you're making $4,000 a month, or if you're in a location, I'm in New York, so everything's expensive. If you're in a location where you're paying $800 a month, then you know you're at the verge of where you might be close enough to quit. Because if you're making $1,000 to $2,000 off your artwork, then guess what? You are at the point where you can support yourself without the job. I'd still say keep your job, because that's not enough to save out of your own pocket yet. So I say keep that day job, keep going on what you're doing. Now, for tips on how to stay out of being a broke artist, using your artwork, if you have a website, I do have a website, and in my website I sell different things. If you have a website, you can hook that up and hopefully sell some things. Now, you might not be noticed enough for you to sell stuff from your website. So do simple things like make a bunch of prints or make posters of your work and stuff like that. If you're not selling from your website or people are not ordering for you, all you have to do is make these prints, go to parks, street corners, whatever it may be, walk down a block, go in the train station, wherever you are, sell them that way. You'll get noticed, and people who like your stuff will buy it off of you. And guess what? Since you're in their face, it's so much easier for them to say, hey, I like what you have, how much? So do it that way. That way you don't have to worry about waiting for a buyer or waiting for the people to get to notice you. It could take up to 2 years before you even make a sale or get noticed as an artist. Between there, if you think because on social media you have about 50 to 60,000 followers or maybe 100,000, whatever it may be, it's not enough to get sales. The statistics of it show that, if you have 100,000 people following you and you're selling things, then you can expect maybe 50,000 of those people to check out what you have. 50,000 to check out, 20,000 to actually consider buying it, and then maybe 100 or 200 of those people maybe might sell, or you might not even get a sale at all. So when you go down those levels, it's hard, even as a professional, to get these sales. You always have to constantly be bringing in new people and getting new faces and showing off new things in order to get noticed the way you would like. So don't get to the point where you think, but I have so many people who know who I am. It doesn't matter with sales. So grab your stuff, make copies of it. You can do smaller versions, 8x12 or 8x11s, whatever it may be. You can sell those. You can sell poster size, whatever it is, and go out there, and people will notice you more if you're standing out there in the street. Now, I'm not saying do it illegally or start running down the block after people saying, hey, whatever, but some places require permits. You can get a permit. It's cheap. I think most permits are like $25 starting, so depending on where you're trying to sell. So that's not very hard. You could just do that and start selling your work. You could go right to the street corner, set up a little spot where you show off everything you have, and you're selling that way. You can put it as expensive or cheap as you want, depending on how fast and how whatever you want to sell it. Now, you can also take commission work, which is another hard thing to do, because if you're taking commission work, a lot of times people might not notice you still. Like, that's where websites and everything else come into play. But if you're doing word of mouth and you're out there talking to people, go to art shows, go to whatever it is, or go to museums even, you'll find plenty of people talking. Strike up a conversation with them, tell them you do commission work. Go through parks, and if you have your artwork showing, show off your artwork, and then people will want to know what you do. If you're doing commission work, then they'll be more than glad to, pay you for your time. So just be out there to get noticed. They have art competitions, all this other stuff. Those things help you get noticed. You'll find people who are willing to pay for commission to you, so you can do the work for them. Also, you have, I personally have a clothing line that I do. I do prints. Sometimes, you can start off slow with clothing. You can print whatever you did on a t-shirt, simple as that, and now you have something else to sell. So you're printing on t-shirts, you're an artist. You can't say, well, I'm not into clothing or whatever else. Whatever you can design, because as artists we have unlimited imagination, so you can just go out and sell something new, and there you go. You're designing new things, putting them on a t-shirt and doing that. I might later on do a tutorial on how to do prints on a t-shirt or whatever else, but you can also just check out how I have my t-shirt designs on my website, or I'll just show you on the side view what my t-shirts and everything else looks like, including what it looks like to scroll through my website and see how I hooked it up for t-shirts. Now, I don't have to stop at my website. There's other places that you can sell on, Etsy and other places like that. Or you could do the same thing as I mentioned earlier with the posters. What a combination that would be, to sell posters and on the side sell t-shirts with your logo or any other cool design you may have designed, and put that on the t-shirt. And now you're selling t-shirts and posters instead of just sitting at home waiting for somebody to call you up and say, hey, I like what you have, I would like to buy it. Now you're getting out there and, you know, just be a hustler. Go be known. Make sure people know your name at the end of the day. And that's the most important part, is to be in people's faces. You don't want to be too active in people's faces to annoy them, but at least as an artist, you can get your stuff known, and you don't have to speak. If your work is good enough, you don't have to speak at all. The work will do the talking for you. Okay, so that's my little ranting training tutorial for today. I'll get some more up. I'm still working on a lot more stuff for you guys. This is just one of the new things that I'm doing, trying to help other artists out at finding different things that they can do to make money on the side or even get noticed as artists. I'll probably try and get you a tutorial on how to bring up more views on your social media pages, so that way you can get noticed more on it. Those things are simple. Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe. I have a lot more tutorials and a lot more art coming this year for you guys. So if you don't subscribe, you might miss it. So subscribe so you can get the first look at what I'm doing when it comes out. See you next week.